Now, 35 different groups wrote to the Chancellor and the Health Secretary last week, urging them to copy the sugar tax on soft drinks and put a levy on a whole range of foods containing too much salt and sugar. The signatories included doctors, dentists, health charities and public health directors. Their pitch was that it would help tackle the country's obesity crisis and, as a sweetener, it would also raise billions for the Chancellor's coffers. They reckon there's public backing as well. A YouGov survey commissioned by food campaign Recipe for Change found 2 out of 3 people would support it if the revenue was ploughed back into children's health. 61% are worried about the amount of sugar and saturated fat in what they eat. But only 13% of people believe that manufacturers will do anything to make their food more nutritious without government intervention. God, makes you hungry just looking at those unhealthy things. Joining me now is Trisha Bennett from the Whitley Community Development in Reading. The trouble is, it's too good, isn't it? This stuff's too tempting. It
is tempting, isn't it? And, you know, we were talking about it the other day. And if you were offered a donut or an apple, you know, you've got
I know which one's good for me.
Yeah, we know which one's good for me. And actually, ironically, we know which one's probably cheaper. And it's probably the donut. And that's a big challenge. You know, people can go and buy crisps, sweets, a famous brand of bakery, fast food stuff, a lot cheaper than we can buy healthy food. And I think that's a big problem. I think we all agree it's the right way to go, but we can't be punishing families, particularly families who are challenged financially.
Well, you come across a lot of those people, don't you?
Yes, every day.
Right, and so do you think this is the wrong thing to do?
No, I think it's the right thing to do, but I think it doesn't stand in isolation.
Okay.
So what we've been doing in Whitley, which has been on South Today previously, we've done some stuff with the university where the association has set up a fruit and veg stall, and we're giving households £10 a week to spend on fruit and veg. Oh, the difference it's making. We're doing it with our science colleagues as well, so people are giving urine samples and hair samples.
Oh, and can you see what's happening to them?
Yes, and in a year we've seen a significant improvement in people's health.
But you had to give them that £10 a week?
£10 a week per household. And because they can't afford it otherwise, you know, we go back to a dough ring is cheaper than an apple.
Is that just laziness? Because you can get the misformed veg, or you can, if you want to work hard, can't you actually find fresh, healthy food at a better price?
Not easily. Strangely, Whitley's a very built-up area in the south of Reading, but it's a food desert. We set up the stall because we couldn't find, we're part of Fresh Street, which is a national initiative. We couldn't find a fruit and veg supplier in Whitley to work with us. So we as an organisation who work for our community said, we'll have to do it then. So we're beholden to Saturday mornings forever now. But the atmosphere, the watching families choosing fruit and veg together, children saying, oh, I want to try that. We've never been able to afford to try a mango or a pineapple or whatever.
Have you changed people's habits?
Yes. We've definitely changed people's habits. And we've got the scientific evidence, but we've got loads of anecdotal evidence. And I think it's 2 things. One is that the vitamins and things are better for them, they feel better, but they come into a market stall in their own community. They're not having to trek from a supermarket carrying bags, and they're getting to know their neighbours. People in the same street are getting vouchers and talking to each other. So their mental health's better as well. So it's a win-win-win. But that doesn't come free. The university are doing this as part of a piece of research. Reading Borough Council have very kindly helped us now. It was supposed to be finished now, but it's now carrying on until March. Thanks to public health. We've got to start influencing policymakers to say, this is an obvious way. Take the tax for the sugary foods, because actually people do want it, but help them with the money in their purse.
Jo, do you think that taxation to change people's habits is the right thing? Or do you think maybe in this situation, subsidy would be better for the whole community?
Yeah, I think there's a role for tax, but I would put it on that list of sort of last resort, really. Obviously, it's a combination of different things, and I would always look at sort of taxing as a last resort because it makes things more expensive. It makes it more expensive often for people who are less able to afford it.
But wouldn't the manufacturers just change, as they did with sugar drinks, and you'd get healthier things for the same sort of price?
Yeah, I mean, the sugar drink obviously was brought in under the last Conservative government, so there is a precedent there for a principle that could be used with food as well. But especially at this time, I'd be very cautious about anything which increased cost for hard-up families. But that's not to say it's not a big issue, and clearly doing nothing is not a solution. I think particularly children, because your diet is very often set, or your interests or your tastes in your younger years. So if children can leave school eating healthy, then that's likely to carry on throughout their life.
Yeah, something needs to be done, doesn't it, Olivia?
We've got to take it seriously, absolutely. Healthy eating, tackling childhood obesity, it's an absolute priority for the government. I mean, I am concerned about this proposal, because I just don't think we should be putting additional costs onto people at this time. The economy's in a really tough position, and you know, I think that I would worry about putting additional costs on people. But there are things that we are doing and can do. So, you know, we're banning junk food advertising for children. We're banning the sale of those energy drinks for under 16s. But it's also about more than just diet too, right? It's about access to sports facilities. It's about having safe communities so that you can go for a walk to the shop or go for a jog. That's why we're getting police back on the beat. And it's also about, you know, secure work. So you've got recreation time to make yourself a healthy meal. That's our make work, pay bill. And it's about growing the economy so everyone's got more money in their pocket. It's about everything, and it's about rebuilding our society again after 14 years of Conservative failure.
Joe was just saying how they introduced the sugar tax. That's not a bad thing, is it?
Well, the fact that we've got wonderful organisations like Trisha's Whitley Community Development Association having to provide people with basic food because people just don't have enough money in their pocket. That's a terrible testament to what 14 years of Conservative government has done.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm not on autopilot. I'll answer the question straight. The obesity is clearly a problem, but it's at the lowest levels it's been for 20 years. That doesn't mean we can't do more in order to help promote healthy living. But clearly progress has been made. Progress is broadly made all the time. We just want to accelerate it.
Well, what about that question of poverty? You know, that the councils don't have the money to do these schemes in the way, which you'd say, Trisha.
Yeah, and I think, though, you know, looking at, again, the bigger picture and the lack of isolation of one issue, we've got areas around us where only 40% of children under the age of 7 are actually taking a preschool meal that is a given. There isn't auto-enrolment. Some of the other recommendations are auto-enrolment to preschool meals for every family who's entitled. We're still stuck in this poverty equals stigma, and we're still stuck with people feeling, oh no, I can't do that, I shouldn't do that. Yeah. And that doesn't help.
Some of those school meals aren't very healthy. But then I suppose the budgets have been very low, haven't they, as well?
Budgets have been low, but that's where we should all be working together to make sure we get all of that. And the work I'm doing with Reading University, funded by UKRI, is looking across the country at different aspects of health for especially disadvantaged communities. And we need to be upping the game. That's where we need to put the pressure on, making sure that children do get the school meals they're entitled to, that are nutritious, that are healthy, that starts there saying, I like this, can we have this at home? And then they can buy it at home, you know, it's affordable.
And in the end, everyone will profit, won't they? The health service will be better off, and we'll all feel better for it.
Absolutely.
I think that's magnificent that you've managed to get all of the actual data.
We have health
from
people come in every month and check.
Yes.
People can come and have their blood pressure checked in the community hub, so they can keep an eye themselves. So that's about making it local.
Excellent. Righto, thanks for coming in and telling us about it, Trisha.
Thank you.
Still